Hey guys, so first couple things that I want to mention in this video before we get started. The first one, if at all throughout this video I lean back and you see this dark mark right here on my chesticle region, it's not Ebola. Basically what happened was my fake tan starting to fade off. For some reason right in the crack of my boobs it wants to fade off the fastest. So I've tried to fix it with foundation and I've ended up looking like someone's just motorboated me and gave me the biggest hickey of life. Promise you it's not a skin disease or that, I've just tried to fix it with foundation. The other thing, I have absolutely no idea how to start these bloody videos. Like, I can't get over how awkward I am when I try to start these videos and I'm just like, hey guys, welcome back to my channel, as if I'm a beauty guru, and then I'm like fucking everything. Do you guys have any suggestions of how I should start these videos? A little tagline of sorts. I don't know if I've said anything in the past that may be like a good tagline, or like, what do you guys think I should say when I come onto these videos? Because I just don't know. So today's video is going to be another story time video, which I feel like I haven't done in ages, but I probably just did one the other day. I don't know why I didn't think about doing this earlier. Actually, I do know. I don't even want to talk about like workplaces or anything like that on my channel, because you know how people say you shouldn't talk about your past employees and your workplaces and stuff like that on your channel because it could ruin future things for you and whatever. But I'm just like, I'm not really bashing a company, I'm just giving my experience. You know, it's more important, to be honest, that I share this with you because you guys are more important than anything. Okay, so this story video is going to be about my worst job ever, the worst job that I've ever had. And I have actually had quite a few jobs in my past. This isn't actually, to be completely honest with you, the worst job that I've ever had. The worst job I've ever had was one that I worked at for literally a couple days before I left. And it was a really weird job. And if you guys would like me to talk about it, there's not gonna be a lot of info because I literally was there for like 2 days, like Guinness World Records. I will do a video on it, so give this video a thumbs up if you would like to see me do that video on the weirdest job that I've ever had, which essentially was the worst one. But this comes in at a pretty close second. This is like the worst job I've ever had all round on jobs that I've stayed at for longer than 2 days. Okay, so this job was the time that I worked as a preschool teacher or a childcare assistant, whatever you guys want to call it. I'm just going to call it a preschool teacher because I'm sure most of you will know what that is more than like a childcare assistant. Now, if you might think, oh, that's really cute, Jess, you worked as a preschool teacher, aren't you? Nice. If you knew me in person, you would know that every time I say to someone that knows me I worked as a preschool teacher, they're on the ground laughing. Like, they're actually crying because no one would think that I would be a preschool teacher. Like, people are like, why the fuck were you at a preschool? Not to be, you know, I'm not trying to give out anything like I'm some convicted pedophile or whatever, but I don't know why I was at a preschool. Okay, I really don't know why. Main reason, I don't like children. I'm not trying to say I hate them, like I wish they weren't here. I'm just trying to say I don't really like children very much. I didn't really grow up with a lot of children, so I was never really around kids that much, and I just don't really care for them very much. You know how there's some people out there, they love children to bits, obsessed with them, want to be around them all the time. I don't. I don't really care for other people's children. Like, I'm not like, oh my God, you know, I just want to be around kids all the time. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure some of you get me. I'm not like all lovey-dovey around kids. I just don't care. I'd rather talk about food and puppies. Like, if there's a puppy or a baby, you best believe I'm going straight for that bitch. Me and the dog. So I was 18, I think, at the time of getting this job, and I was unemployed. I had been out of high school now for a few months. I graduated high school, and my ex-boyfriend at the time was, you know, hassling me to get a job because he didn't want to go out to dinner and pay for me all the time. You know, because fucking hashtag relationship goals right there. But he wanted me to get a job, and I was like, yeah, well, I guess, you know, I could get one. I guess it's probably best that I get one myself. So anyways, I was like, okay, I'm just going to find a job. So I'm looking through the paper, 21st century, and I've come across this ad for a childcare assistant or a preschool teacher. And I was like, well, I don't like kids, but fuck it, I need some cash money, so I'm going to go anyway. I applied for this job. And I'm really good at interviews. Like, I'm really good at interviews and like talking to people. Like, I could probably get a job at NASA because I just bullshit my way in there like nothing. I'd be like, oh, Saturn, Uranus, I know exactly all about that. I go for this interview. The place was about, I don't know, 40 minutes from where I lived. I drive there, I get there to this preschool. I already hate it. But I'm like, you know what, whatever. I don't know when I'm gonna get another job interview, so I best be doing the absolute most of this one. So I get in, I sit down at the office with this girl. I pass all these kids. I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah. but love you at the same time, you know, because I've got to give a good impression. I sit down with this woman who's a very nice woman. She was very nice. There was nothing wrong with her. And I sit down and I'm talking to her about the job and whatever. And she's like to me, this was a traineeship. So basically I was going to be there for a year, 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, working in a childcare centre. And then I was also going to have to do theory. So I was going to have to learn about development of children and whatever. Woo, fucking hoot. So I sat down and she's like to me, okay, so, you know, have you had any experience with children? Have you been around children very much? I was like, oh, I used to babysit all the time. That's a complete lie. I was left with my next door neighbour's kid for like 5 minutes while my mum hung the washing out. Pretty much the extent of me around kids. But I was like, you know what? I can't exactly say, no, I don't even know what they are, to be honest with you. So I said, no, I've babysat a few times. She's like, that's okay, it's a traineeship, that's what you're here for. We don't expect you to be like Mother Teresa. I'm like, great, because farthest thing from it. I'm like, but love kids, absolutely love them, want to be in a career with children. Like, yeah. Said no one ever. So anyways, she's like, okay, well, I don't want to take much of your time. I'm like, really? You know, because I've just walked in off the street. Pretty much, and you're putting kids' lives in my hands. You don't want to know anything else about me, really? Okay, that's cool. Yeah, fucking great. Fucking absolute perfect. This is what I get for trying to get a bloody good background for once in my fucking life. So basically what she said to me was, how about we go outside, you hang around the kids a little bit, get to know some of them, see whether you like it or not, interact and whatever, and we'll see how you go. I was like, oh, great. I was actually shitting myself. Like, I probably literally produced about 1 litre of sweat because I was like, holy crap, what am I gonna do? Like, I don't like children, so how am I gonna interact with them? It's not like I don't like children, I'm awkward around them, you know what I mean? Like, I'm really awkward around kids. So I go outside, all these other preschool teachers are sitting there judging me like, oh, what's this bitch gonna do? You know, is she gonna be really into it? I'm like, shut the fuck up, like, you're like 80. So I've walked out there, and there's all these kids running around, and I'm just like, hello, you little thing, you. This is fucked. I might as well leave now because I ain't gonna get this job, no way. So I walk over to these kids on the slide, and they're a bunch of girls, I guess. So I'm like, whatever. I said to this girl, I was like, hey, how are you going? I'm not going to mention the kids' names, just in the very, very odd chance their parents are watching this video, so I'm just going to call them random girls' names. So this girl's name was Mary. So I walk up to Mary and I'm like, hi, how are you kids? How's your day going? Like, literally, how's your day going? As if it's like a colleague. So this girl's like to me, can you fix my hair because it's fallen out while I've been playing down the swing? And I'm like, oh bitch, now we're talking, I know all about weave. So I sit down with Mary and I start plaiting her hair. Terrible at plaits, but I'm just doing some sort of like twisting thing with my thumbs in the back. Just out of coincidence, it just happened that the boss who owned the preschool just happens to come out just as I'm sitting down doing this kid's hair. For the last 5 minutes, I've been walking around as though I'm a rapist, literally like sketchy as fuck. And then as soon as she comes out, I'm sitting here with this kid doing her hair. So anyways, that gave a great impression. She's like, oh, look, Jess, you've already started to interact with the kids. I'm like, I know, I'm one with them. So after that was done, she was like, okay, you know, the interview finished, I left, and she's like, we'll call you in like a week or so. And at this point in time, it was like getting up to New Year's, Christmas. So I'm like, if I don't get this job, this is the worst year ever. Like, this is literally going to be the worst year of my entire life. So I finally get a call a week later, and this lady's like, hey, we'd like to offer you the job. And I'm like, oh my God, terrific. And I was actually really excited because, you know, I wanted a job. I was literally going to get paid like $8 an hour. That's like traineeship wages here in Australia, but like I didn't really care. I was like, whatever, I've got a job, I've got somewhere to go. Now I would either work 7:30 to 3:30, which was like opening time, or 9 to 5, which was closing time. Now let me just say, turning up to a preschool at 7:30 to look after children, not my cup of tea. I want to be in bed or eating my peanut butter toast. I don't want to be at a preschool looking after kids at 7:30. And you know what really pissed me off was half of these mothers that dropped their kids off at that time didn't even look like they were going anywhere. Didn't even look like they were going to work. They would come with their friggin' gym gear on, be like, oh, Pilates class starts in an hour. Like, that's not reason enough to hand your kid over to me, take it back. Like, I could be here later if you just didn't want to hand your kid over. You know what I mean? Now, another thing, by the way, is that this woman who... You know what? Holy shit. Yeah, so this woman is literally sitting there, I kid you not, and she's telling me that this preschool is practically the equivalent to like a freaking prep school in Sydney. Like, she was saying that there were the elite children that came to this preschool and everyone all had lots of money, their parents all had lots of money. And you could tell that she was actually half true, even though I think that's ridiculous, because all the parents would come in dressed, as I said, in their activewear, going to Pilates, and their husbands would go off work and they'd turn up in their bloody Jeeps and Chryslers like, fuck you. And I'm sitting here in bloody shorts with fucking shit all over my hands. Now, to begin with, I was like, okay, this is kind of okay, it's pretty easy. The only issue, and this was kind of like the first warning sign to me pretty much, but the only issue that I had was that, you know when you've gone through trauma in your life, and then something like a song or something like that kind of brings up the trauma? I used to cry so much when I was in preschool, like you have no idea. I actually repeated preschool, like no joke, because I wasn't ready to move on. I hated preschool so much, just wanted to be at home with bloody mumsy. So when I got into this preschool, the smell, the kids crying, missing their parents, actually brought that all up in me, and I wanted to go home. I was like, bitch, I don't even care about you. I actually want to leave right now because I'm not feeling great. I actually felt sick every time I walked in there because it actually just brought up the whole trauma of me hating preschool myself, which is hilarious, but really sad too. First like month or so, like was pretty easy. No one really cared what I was doing. I wasn't doing any like theory work yet. I was just basically there, just looking after the kids, whatever, taking them out, playing with Play-Doh, being outside, wishing I was on a friggin' island with a margarita instead. All of a sudden, it started to get a lot more intense. Now, I had thought, oh, I'm just gonna be here chopping up some fruit at lunchtime, reading a story about a rainbow fish. I really didn't think that I would have to do that much. But these people were like, oh, we've got to start to now teach the kids and develop them. I was like, what? Like, you're kidding. No, you're kidding. You're joking. It's preschool. But they were dead set serious. They started to say to me, they were like, okay, what we're going to have to do is we're going to give you a group of your own kids that you take outside and whatever. Now, I'm not a leader, like ever, not even with like 5-year-old kids. And these were 3 to 5-year-old kids, by the way. These weren't babies, like thank God, or I would be in jail because I would have dropped them all. I would go out there like outside to play with these kids, or I would take them inside, read a book, like do whatever the hell I was doing. And then all of a sudden they said to me, oh, we've got to start, giving you like a digital camera, and you have to take photos of all your children and do like a whole collage every single day of what they've been doing. And I was like, but that's work. It's not what I'm here for. I'm here to play in the sand. I got a digital camera. They gave one to me, and they told me we had to like share it, by the way. So like everyone else was hogging it, and I was just like, well, I ain't gonna fight for it. You know what I mean? Like, come on. You had to go around taking all these photos and like doing up a little collage of what the kids were doing. And I'm like, well, I don't really want to do that because I've got better things to do. So this is really crap. And I didn't really expect this because I didn't really know what the whole job was about. I thought I was just looking after children for 8 hours a day and playing, but didn't actually realise there was some sort of intellectual stimulation happening there. After a while, they started to kind of hound on me a little bit, and they were like, okay, I had tons of meetings with like the second in charge and whatever and the trainer to say like, look Jess, we're going to have to start doing this because these parents are coming here and they want to see what their kids been doing. I'm like, well, maybe they should be here then. You know what I mean? Like, they're only at Pilates. They're only out having coffee and going for beach walks with their elite friends. Like, they ain't doing much. Come over, come on in, have a look-see. I was like, okay, yeah, that's fine. Now, one of the biggest reasons why I hated this job, and I didn't really hate any of the children. Like, there was this one bitch, she got on my damn nerves, like, let me tell you. I'll get to that in a minute. But I didn't really hate any of the children. I actually was really quite good with them. And there was a few that I actually got really, like, close with, which was nice. Like, as in, I liked talking to them whenever they came to work. I actually liked them more than I liked half of the people that I worked with, and actually felt like I got along with them more than the actual staff members. The biggest problem was the parents. Now, I know some of you are probably thinking, oh my God, Jess, why did you work in a preschool if you hate children? Because I know that there's someone out there that's going to get offended by this video and say like, you shouldn't have been allowed to work there if you didn't like children. I needed money. Pretty much sorry, not sorry. And it wasn't like I was terrible around them anyway. But anyways, the worst part was the parents. Now, I understand that's your child, okay? But they would get to, like, the school after the day had finished and pick up their kid. And if I didn't go up and greet them within 0.5 seconds, they would go up to the boss and they would say, that girl over there that's new, she didn't come and say hello to me and tell me what Sasquin's been doing all day. And I'm just like, bitch, I was in the toilet. Like, you expect me to come up to you as soon, there's like 20 parents all at once and they all expect me to go up and talk to them when they first walk in the door. Like, I don't know who you think I am, Houdini, but I am not interested in doing that. I was really pissed off at this because they were just like getting me in trouble, and I was just like, honestly, if I wasn't here, I would punch you out. I'm not a convicted rapist. You don't need to worry about me, okay? If I don't come up and talk to you straight away, it's either because I didn't see your child that day, or because I've like been busy and I'm talking to someone else. Like, just calm down, homie, okay? Calm yourself down. So anyways, they would get really annoyed that I didn't come and talk to them about their kids. And some of these parents' kids I didn't even hang out with that day, like they were in another room, but they would still get angry that I wasn't absolutely everywhere. That was the first annoying thing. And I used to say, like, well, I did go up and talk to bloody Mrs. Wilson, you know, but I actually didn't. I really didn't do it. And then they kept saying to me, as I said, like, you need to do this, you need to do that. And I just didn't get it. I didn't really understand what I was meant to be doing. I was like, this is too hard. Like, I haven't even gone to university for teaching. Like, I don't know how to teach these kids, and they're not listening to me. They just want to throw snot at each other. And at one stage or another, this stupid bitch she was a staff member, and she was old. And she was really nice to me in the lunchroom, but then in the workplace, she was a real bitch. And I wish I had stood up to her when I had the chance, because I knew I was going to leave anyway. So I don't know why I didn't say something. I'm just such a nice person. But she actually said to me, can you go change so-and-so's diaper in the other room? And I'd never changed a diaper before. So I was like, well, I haven't changed a diaper. And this parent was like, why are you working in childcare if you haven't changed a diaper? I'm like, it's a traineeship, bitch. Why haven't you got a brain if you went to high school and knew where someone's dick had to go for you to make your child? So anyways, I ended up leaving because I was just like, this is probably the best thing for me to do right now, is just to leave, because this is clearly not what I want to do with my life. And clearly I'm doing an injustice by being here because I'm not doing the right thing. So anyways, that was pretty much the worst thing. And they actually told me that, like, one of the reasons that they didn't think it was working out was because all I did was sit in a sandpit, which, okay, like, that's not entirely untrue. Like, yeah, I sat in the sandpit a lot, but I wasn't getting melanoma walking around that backyard for like freaking 2 hours every single day in the heat. Like, and I like the sandpit. Okay, so that was pretty much the worst job ever. A couple of like little stories about that job that I like really didn't like, other than all that. The first one was, this girl was so annoying. I was just like, how do you have an attitude at this age? Like, at that age, I was such a nice person, but I was like, how do you have an attitude when you are 4? She came up to me and she's like, I'm older than you, so you can't tell me what to do. I'm like, bitch, where? I was like, you are like 4 and I am 18. Like, can you do the math for 1 minute? And then she shut up. I had to actually go and tell the other preschool teachers about her because she was such a little bitch. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, I'm sorry, but you know those kids that are just really rude and you can tell their parents or something just swear in front of them all the time? She would swear off of her mind. She would be so annoying. Every day she wasn't at the school, I would like literally smile the whole day, because I was like, I don't want to deal with you, I don't like you, you're a really horrible person, I'm just trying to be friends with you and you're trying to be a real bitch. I used to try and like make pranks on some of the kids because I was so bored with life. I would like be in the sand pit, of course, and there were these 2 girls, and one of them was older and then her twin sister was younger. So what I used to do is the older girl used to take off her little bucket hat, which we were expected to wear to no thank you, I'm out. She used to put her bucket hat on the sand, so then I would take her bucket hat and I would give it to her younger sister. And then this older girl would be like, where's my bucket hat? Like, where did it go? And I'd be like, oh, your sister took it. And she'd be like, Chloe, and I'd be like, oh, you in trouble, Chloe, you in trouble. You better not be stealing. And I wasn't very good at the whole authority thing. Like, I would be like walking around, be like, guys, please stop. Like, please stop doing that. Like, that's really annoying. Like, please stop it. So anyways, that is basically the end of this video. I hope you guys found it entertaining. And I actually cried when I left because I missed some of the kids. So I wasn't bad around the kids. It was just generally, I more was at the preschool myself rather than actually working there. You know what I'm saying? Hope you guys enjoyed it. I will do another video on the other weird job that I had, which pretty much felt like I was in a cult for like 2 days, if you guys want. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to follow me on all my social medias. And I will see you guys in my next video. Peace out, mofos.